Party with your host, Dustin Rybka.
Hello and welcome to Sex Party. I'm your host, Dustin Rybka. With me on the show this week is adult performer Brenna McKenna. We are going to get wild in this episode. We're going to get crazy in this episode. There is a lot here. Brenna is incredibly fun, wild, smart. She shares a lot of stories about things she's done in her stripper life, things she's done in her porn life. Anal, there's a lot of anal in this episode. Piss content, crazy Vegas stories, double penetration. Listen, I'm just going to get you to the interview. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Brenna McKenna.
This week's conversation.
Brenna McKenna, welcome to Sex Party. How are you doing?
I'm ready to sex party.
You're ready to sex party. Well, that's great. You're in the right place. You're the right person, obviously. For the people out there that maybe don't know who you are, they've been living under a rock or under a blanket or something, right? Could you talk a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do?
I'm Brenna McKenna, and I'm an adult performer, and I've been producing entertainment for the last 3 years.
Okay, so that means like in the adult mainstream world for 3 years. Wow, okay. And if you had to like just right off the rip, right? If you had to sum up the last 3 years of your life, what would you say?
I would say it's like chaotic and crazy and fulfilling. Absolutely a dream. Little me would be loving me. She'd be loving it. If I could tell her, she would not want to kill herself.
Well, that's a very good positive thing. Yeah. And so, I immediately want to jump to how you got into the industry, but let's save that, right? Let's just go right to the middle.
That's what everyone starts with.
Yeah. Let's be like little Tarantino about this. Have some fun, okay? We're gonna just throw a bunch of pieces out there.
I'm following your lead.
Yeah, I'll take us to some places. They may be fun. They may be weird. We'll see what happens. Good. Okay, I'm glad. We have the consent. We're moving into. I don't know where we're going. Everyone who's listening or watching, they're on the edge of their seats. They're excited. Okay, what does a typical day look like for Brenna McKenna when she's working? I know we talked a little bit before we started about how busy things get, how it's important for you to sort of disconnect from the absolute insanity. But like on a day where you're maybe doing OnlyFans or content or shooting mainstream, like what does that day look like for you?
So let's just take a typical day on a trip where I'm in Vegas or something. Usually it's an anal day. I'm more of a mainstream type of gal. I focus on that more than content just for now. And so it will start with the day before where I don't eat because I'll fast for my anal day. And I'll have like gummy bears and a piece of bread and butter. I'll wake up that morning around 6 a.m. My call time is probably 11 a.m. where I have to be on set. I'll wake up around 6 a.m. and I will enema, repeat, and then shower, and then prep all my outfits in my bag and get the vibe for the day. While I'm blasting rap music, or watching murder documentaries, whatever is getting me hyped, like whatever the vibes are, that gets me like, And then it's like usually like an hour traffic if it's LA or something like that. Oop, there's my bird.
That was awesome. Yeah.
He's quiet. He's a good boy. So then I go to set. Then you do your pretty girls. You shoot your, the corn, and you have all the social media stuff. And then, you're ruined. You shower. You leave. You trek back to your place. It probably was 5 or 6 hours of shooting. And then you shower and you redo your makeup, and then you go and you're about to go like do some content with somebody else. So you're like on your second like person of the day. Hello, Manny.
Yeah.
And then after the anal scene, I'll eat like Taco Bell, McDonald's, like something disgusting, you know, because I'm in a caloric deficit, so I can, and it won't matter. And yeah, and then after that, I'll fuck somebody else, do the whole content thing, you know, like we're just planning outfit, like you're just constantly like talking throughout the day, hey, I'm gonna get done at this time, I want to fuck you like this, I need this content, what should I wear, what's the script, like what do we want to do? And then I'm heading to the club 11 o'clock at night, and then I go and I do my makeup for a third time, and I'm putting on a slutty dress. And I'm like, what bitches are going to the club? Like, what hosts do I know? I'm looking at the group chat. I'm looking at the Vegas group chat. Like, what are the DJs who got a free table tonight? Or who wants to give me money in the strip club? And that's like I'm either going out or I'm making money. Like, either way, you know. And if I'm going to the club, usually I'll try to bring bitches that we make out and do content. Or I bring a guy or two, and then they're like my boyfriends for the night, and then I suck their dicks after. Or it could just be fun, or I could try to fuck a random. Or if it's a strip club, then until 5 a.m., it's like nonstop. Like I could literally go for like 24 hours of just straight fucking and working on any given day.
Okay.
That was a lot of detail, but
no. That gives
like
me
legit. Like it could just like, what's the next body? Like what's like the next move? Like what's the next like bag? You know, like what's the next dollars?
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. You could have gone on for another 20 minutes and I wouldn't have said a word. That's amazing. As a podcast host, they don't want to hear from me. They want to hear that. They want to hear those stories. But
yeah.
Couple incredibly interesting things to jump in at. Number one, how many days a week is this happening? Like how many days a week are you that active where you're like, you're doing a scene, you're doing an OnlyFans scene? Like, I mean, and what is that like having sex with 2 or 3 people in a day? Or
that could happen. So because I live in Philadelphia, when I'm on a work trip in another city, I try to pack as much shit in as possible. Pun unintended. And I want to get as much done because I can't do it once I'm out here again. So I'm trying to like use everybody and have them use me and get all the content possible and like still keep my like social, you know. So I'm trying to shoot an anal scene like every other day. You know, I can only fast so long, but I can fast like every other day. So I'm trying to get an anal scene like every other day or two. And then I'll shoot content, like, depending on how tired. Sometimes I reschedule. I'm like, I just cannot do it. Like, I'm blown out. It was, like, crazier than I thought. My eye got cum in it. I'm wrecked for today, you know? Or, like, that could happen. And then, or it could just be the scene. And then I'm, like, still horny. Like, I actually, like, don't usually orgasm, you know? Like, unless it's, like, a scene where I can, like, sometimes it doesn't always, you know, go my way. And so then I still want to, you know, like, why not suck some dick when I'm drunk after with some porn guys, you know, like, so it's like, that is like happening like once a week or a couple times a week if I'm in Vegas. Or LA's a little bit tougher, but LA's wild, but it's tougher. It's expensive to go to clubs and everything's like an hour away and
it's like
traffic
and
like bullshit. Right. But Vegas is the vibe and Miami's the vibe. So like those two spots, like that's what's going down. Okay. And that's just like nonstop for 2 weeks. Cause I'm usually on the road for like 2 weeks or so before I get homesick and I need to come back.
Yeah. Okay. And you, I want to make sure I get this because we talk about this in and out. See, now we can't say anything without it sounding sexual and we love it. It's great. So we talk about the gummy bear diet a lot on this show because there's a lot of performers. A lot of performers do anal. Can you explain the gummy bear diet and why it's a thing?
Yeah. So the gummy bear diet, there's also some other diet. It's like called I don't know. It's an acronym, and the gummy bear diet, the gelatin doesn't break down. It breaks down really slowly. It kind of keeps you full longer, but there's no way in hell that you're gonna have to go to the bathroom to pass gummy bears. So that's kind of the cheat code. You just constantly eating gummy bears, like the sugar kind of gets you through, and you don't have to go to the bathroom, so you don't have to constantly worry about like what kind of clean out you have to do, because that process is almost as terrorizing as the anal sex itself. Like doing enemas for hours is like not the vibe.
Yeah,
It's brutal. Like it's I would eat I would literally starve for days before, like, you know, like having to struggle like with the clean out process. Like it's just not fun. Like I just want to show up and get fucked. You know, like nothing is, you know, like nothing feels better than just being clean, no stress, no anxiety over like, am I about to be dirty? You know, like, is this going to go smooth? How big is the dick? Did I not reach the spot where, you know, like it's just better not to. But also things like that, they also work is like bread, like oatmeal, kind of like those are slower digesting things, that like you can eat late at night or early in the morning and it won't make you have to go to the bathroom right away.
Right. And so, and also too, so there's all this anal talk. So is your thing anal? Did it become a thing that like, is that sort of your signature style of sex that you do? Or is it more like, and do you enjoy it? Right. Like, what do you prefer? Because there's Brenna McKenna and then there's a real person too, which, you know, we talk about alter egos a little bit. So it's kind of like, how did you wind up on anal and how much of it do you actually enjoy?
Yeah, so I did do anal before I started porn, but not too much before, maybe a year before, kind of like during COVID, kind of like experimented a little bit and like was in the house a lot.
Yeah, who didn't? Yeah.
So yeah, and along with like I launched like OnlyFans before I got into mainstream because that was just like the quickest thing. Like, what do you do next? Like step one, you start an OnlyFans, right?
Hell
like,
yeah.
That was like pandemic 101. So yeah, so but I did anal before that. So then I was able to make videos of it and, you know, like do decent on OnlyFans in the first like month or two. But yeah, so I started doing porn like right off the bat. I wasn't like one of these girls that said they were going to hold off and try to auction it for a lot of money. Because honestly, if I can just get that money now.
Yeah, why not?
Like, you know, you can auction your first one off for like $5K, or I can make $20K doing the anal scenes that are just being offered me, you know, like, immediately because I'm a new girl. So they just want to, you know. So I definitely like did, I think, 5 or 6 anal scenes. I was like my first month. It was all of those that came out. Yeah. I think my first bang, like my bang bus was anal. Like I started straight out the gate with it because it is kind of my signature. Like the gonzo and the anal is kind of like it. And I have a lot of scenes on True Anal, Anal Only, like those kinds of sites, and that's where I got like a start. Like my first LA trip, like 3 came out in the same week for every site. Like I had a scene come out, so I was like that anal girl, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like bright anal colors, little little anal slut, like new girl on the block.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, you're the anal alt girl or something, like, because that's and the wonderful notes from Erica Icon over at the Rub PR, which shout out, we love Erica, she's the best.
Yo, she's amazing.
She's amazing. Yeah. She you know, she has you in here like in the description, you know, an all natural alt girl from Jersey and in the porn industry. And I think, you know, the porn industry, it didn't used to, but it loves alt girls now. And especially like anal alt girls like yourself. Right. So with having that persona, you're kind of like the alt chick. You're like, you're doing the wild stuff. You're in the club. You're doing a lot of anal. Like, you know, everybody loves that. Right. But how do you feel about it? Right. Do you like, is it just, you're going and getting the job done and and it's making you horny, but it's not like, it's not really in the script for you to come. So like you taking it in the ass so many times, like just gets you like to a place where like, well, fuck, now I'm super horny. I got to figure this out. Or do you have scenes where you're like, oh shit, I'm going to have a fucking orgasm with this guy's dick in my ass?
Yeah. Like some I do. And a lot of my OnlyFans collabs I do because I can do whatever I want. And I'm picking whoever I want. So it's like a little bit easier that way. And like you kind of want to make each other nut. you're there voluntarily, you know, like you chose to be in the same room together.
Yeah.
And with mainstream, like not so much, and you don't want to make the ugly faces. Like you got to control, like even if I have like a small orgasm, like, you know, like you just can't do that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, but how do I feel about it? I love it. I have just been kind of like living this life for so long. Because I've been in the strip club, and it's just been my thing to constantly just be going out and seeing, you know, clients and hanging out with like hot girls and just like everything about it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, like, do I love it? Yes. And like, I still feel like super, super, like, I feel like I've just extended college a little bit. Like, but like on a grown up level, like, I just have more money and I can still just do whatever the fuck I want, you know, because I don't have no kids or anything. Like, I'm just out here, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
We love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so and I love it, and it's not really far off from what I do, like, in real life too. Like, I just am not great at, like, recording everything. Like, I do like to enjoy things without pulling out the selfie stick or, like, telling a guy
Yeah.
to hold the I should record a lot more, and I should have a lot more content, but I keep my life more private than I think a lot of porn stars do these days.
Well, it sounds like you're hitting it pretty hard on like on both ends, right? Because if you're like, you know, you're doing 2 weeks in Miami, you're doing 2 weeks in Las Vegas, you're hitting the clubs, you sound like you're blowing dudes in the clubs or after the clubs, like,
Oh, yeah, totally.
and but then you have like these days where it's like, you know, your Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays where you're like, these are I'm chilling, I'm at home, I'm with my bird, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a very interesting balance that I think anybody, whether they're in the adult industry or not, probably can I don't know, desire to have. I mean, for me, I'm sort of a crazy fuck as well. I'm not saying you're crazy, but you know, I'm on that same like high energy wavelength. But then I need, you know, 2-3 days to like whatever, and I never get those days. So it's cool that you kind of are doing both. You know, I mean, was your life always like that, where it's going to be crazy over here, but I need some downtime, or is this something that you had to adopt for the industry and what you do?
No, definitely with the industry, because when I was younger, I never needed downtime. I kind of just had energy and a crazy drug habit. You know, like I was just always partying and like doing the most, and it was just nonstop. And it's like, you have to do this. Like, you have to go to class. Like, you have to work the weekends. Like, you have to get up, or like, I had to. But now I don't have to. And I'm not the richest. Like, I could obviously make more money if I was just like, you know, on the go all the time, or like doing like every week, you know, doing something, or like honestly live streaming like all the time, all day, every day, interviews on the street, like the things that I see content creators do, like I applaud them, because like when I'm home, like I don't even want to like be on technology. Like I
Yeah.
almost save that for my work trips, because that's like where I know I can just do nonstop and put 110%. But when I'm here, like I would rather just lose the money and keep my sanity. I'm a little bit older now. Like I'm just, that's what I care more about. But back then, like I paid off my loans, like I got my experiences in, like I lived a wild ass 20s. My parents are, you know, like my parents, like they could tell you. And so like now that I'm, you know, 31, I'm just like, I would really love to sleep until 3 p.m. and not have to, you know, pick up the phone, like a soft morning. These are just what you know, it's what I prioritize now, because like I did not have that, and I've never seen my parents have that. And it's a luxury that money can only buy to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not worth me, you know, being on stream for 5 hours and making another like 2,000 whatever, you know, like it's just not, you know. But it would have been like a long time ago, or even 5 years ago, you know, or even.
Sure.
And that's why I went so crazy when I started porn. Like I was just going on a trip like all the time, trying to get as many scenes as possible. I was like trying to fit in so many collabs. They look really bad, you know, like because the lighting's bad and you're just trying to do so many per day. Like, and like that's cool too, but
Yeah. Yeah. So what? So what? When you're not, when you're not taking the dicks in the ass, and you're not like blowing dudes, and you're not out in the clubs, and it's not crazy, and you're not shooting OnlyFans, right? So what does like a chill 2 or 3 days look like? I mean, what hobbies do you have? Like, what are you doing in your off time?
You're kind of looking at it. I have a lot of animals, so I just hang out. My girlfriend was over here earlier and we smoke weed, we order food. I just hang out with my animals. I don't have a car in the city. I'm a city girl. I walk everywhere and it takes up time, but I walk like 45 minutes to go to Five Guys, or 20 minutes to the bank and back. And I take my time and I'm like very invested in my home space, and I want to show my aquariums.
Oh yeah.
I build aquariums and
Nice.
they're sick.
Yeah, no, yeah,
And I
awesome.
got some downstairs and they're really expensive and they take a lot of time, but I plant them all and I get the fish and I do water testing like every week.
Yeah, that's fucking
It's really
awesome.
important to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I love that you're a city girl. I'm in Chicago and I don't have a car, and that's on purpose. I love what you said. I don't care what the weather's like. I'll brave it to just go get something done, whatever.
No, yeah, oh my God, walking in the rain to get a cheesesteak or like a burger or like so good. Deposit cash in the bank, like see y'all later.
Yeah, I feel like this is counterintuitive to a lot of people, but not having a car is actually quite a luxury. You don't have to worry about parking, payments, any of that bullshit.
See, now you're speaking my language. This is what I'm saying. The no car, like taking off, like giving up the money to have your time, with no pressure for things.
Yeah.
And I don't have to make a commitment if I don't want to. It is just a luxury that like money cannot buy.
Yeah, no, it's just so much fucking better. I wish people would understand that.
I wish they would just abolish cars in Center City, to be honest. Like I just wish I could walk around everywhere and like it was just nice and clean.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fucking awesome. Okay, let's spin this back now that we've got a nice chunk of what's happening currently a little bit. Let's go back to and again, like I'm sure you've been on a million podcasts and they've asked you, oh, how did all that? I promise I will make this as sex party as possible, which means not boring, right? So okay, from what I understand, and you can correct me where I'm wrong, we don't have to go back to wherever. We're in the sex party time machine. From what I understand, the timeline goes, you were a stripper for quite a while. You were incredibly good at it. You had a kind of a fan base, right? And then pandemic hits, you moved to OnlyFans and then mainstream. Now, you can take that like from the beginning, from your stripper days, because we love some good stripper history and stories. So like, you were a stripper. I mean, how'd you get started? What were your favorite things? What did you not like about it?
Oh, well, what I don't like about it, I'm going to attempt to not be dark.
You can do whatever you want. This is your episode.
What I don't like about it, honestly, is just guys that just molest you. Like you just actually, it feels like rape. That's probably like the worst thing about the job is that you don't have control all the time, and people take advantage of that. But that's probably the worst thing about the job, and it doesn't happen every time.
Yeah.
So I'm able to compartmentalize on that, and I'm,
Yeah.
I don't know if that speaks to my trauma and pure resiliency or what, but
yeah, I think so.
That's like the worst part, and it does upset me sometimes, but obviously has not hindered me from continuing to do the job, because I've just learned to, you just learn to deal with that over time using various strategies and maybe some violence with backup from the security guards.
Well, yeah, I want to ask you real quick. Like what, just like some clubs like didn't respond when you like, because for me, okay, I was going, I turned 18 in like the year 2000, right? And so I was coming out of high school and I was like,
7.
yeah, there you go. And I was like, oh my God, a strip club, right? And we would go and they would be, you know, and it was kind of like almost like the sit on your hands days of strip
I don't
clubs.
like that.
That's okay. And that's what I'm driving at. Like,
No.
so you couldn't yell out like if we heard in a strip club, someone's like, hands, like someone's getting their fucking ass kicked, you know?
It was like that when I started.
Okay.
2011. So and the culture was already starting to decay. Okay.
Oh no.
So based on the OG stories that I hear, I could tell that it was and I work in a classier club. It's not a sports bar vibe.
Yeah.
I work at a Delilah's Den. Like it's kind of like been a chain, but now I think there's just a few. But it's a classier gentleman's club, and it used to be that way, but now it's totally not. And I think that's in part just because of the way the culture is, and also because like us girls have just learned to go further and further and let these guys do things like for the money, because it's just kind of like following this trend, you know, like it's just harder and harder like these days, you know. And I don't even think that's because I'm older. I think that's just like how the club culture is like. But I started, I when I graduated high school, I said I need to be a stripper. I need to pay for college. I went to a Catholic high school. I got a free scholarship there, on a sports scholarship. I did not grow up with money, so when I was going to a good private school, of course, because when I'm going to college and I'm in a Catholic school and they're prepping me to go to an expensive like private school, so I have like this, you know, the FAFSA and
who's gonna pay for this? Yeah,
right, you know. And so, but I already knew, like when they at 16 they start bringing you in, like let's look at your scores. We're prepping, and I'm like I have to be a stripper. Because no one's helping me with my shit. And so, I waltzed in there. I called them. I waltzed in, filled out a paper application. They said, we'll let you. I came in fancy, button-down shirt, skinny jeans, tall heels, like the devil wears Prada.
Shit, yeah.
But like Forever 21 style.
Yeah.
And I was 18, and then they called me like 2 days later, and I thought I was like just the coolest bitch because I'm in college, right? And like I am stripping where Amber Rose started. And all these famous girls like started in Delilah's here in Philly. Like even one of the Champagne Room hostesses was one of the Smirnoff, or one of the Stoli Smirnoff girls, like I think it was Smirnoff, that the old vintage ads back in the day, like with the fruit and shit. Like she was like one of those girls, like they were just so top tier.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I got my education, I got all of my degrees, and I continued dancing there, and I took care of everything. I never thought about doing porn, that's for sure. Like everything was cool. I just made such good money. You know, I was always taken care of in that club. I still work there to this day. Like I was just in there this past weekend.
So you're regularly in there, like every week you work in there, or just when you feel like it, or
when I feel like it, like if I'm in a really good mood, because I really like to voluntarily go in there and deal with drunk cheap people, you know, that I feel like are below me, you know, these like, because they're just so obnoxious. Like they don't understand that like who they're talking to. Like I'm not a 22-year-old that you can like, you know, proposition and like be rude to. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not that bitch. Like you couldn't touch me for less than a certain amount. You know what I mean? So I have to be in a really good mood to go in there. Or have a client, because like you said, like I know people who literally have snuck me drinks from under the bar when I was 19 years old, and now like I see them to this day. Yeah, and it's really fun. Like when they're like, "Oh my god," because like they don't have my number anymore. You know, like some of them do, some of them don't. I haven't seen them in so long; they don't have my updated information, and so we'll see each other. And almost sometimes they don't even recognize me anymore because I'll just look different with a new hairstyle every day, you know, or whatever. Yeah, and or like, you know, I'm like working out more, and they're just like, "Oh my god, like I haven't seen you in so long. And I'm like, let's go. And they spend like thousands of dollars because they just have not seen me in years, and I get to tell them about all the weird shit since I've turned 21.
Right. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, people don't understand. They, and again, we're in this fucking culture, and believe me, like I host a sex podcast. I battle these fucking incel troll idiots like all day, every day. It's
Oh
almost
my
like a
God.
waste of my energy. But like people, sex workers deserve nothing and all this shit, and it's like, dude. You got to go get a lobotomy or something. Like, why are you so angry about whatever? But that aside, the job itself, like sex work in any form, is incredibly challenging. It's incredibly difficult. Not to fucking, not just the fucking abuse that you alluded to earlier, but the fucking job of like climbing the pole and having to like have this weird sort of like manipulative conversation to get $25 out of someone's fucking sock.
Yeah, I was just gonna show you my kneecap because there's like 10 bruises just on my kneecap from like this past week. I just like climbing around the stage picking up dollars.
Yeah, it's a
And
lot.
to an extent, it's glamorous, but like, yeah, like sometimes I just don't think they can appreciate, like everything that like we're putting out there.
Sure.
And it's frustrating sometimes because it feels like there was an appreciation for it before that there's not anymore, because I think society has just become desensitized. Like it's nothing to see ass on Instagram and tits, like you can see it everywhere. So they come into this institution where I have my ass and my tits out and no one's putting $1 in my G-string. They're smacking my ass for free. That didn't happen 10, 15 years ago. Like it
Sure.
didn't happen as much as it happens now. And
Yeah.
especially not by older guys. Like older guys used to have class, and like now like they're just as disrespectful as 20-year-olds, because
Yeah.
and it's almost like crazy.
No, it
The
is.
culture shift.
It's so insane that people think that because someone is a sex worker that you're allowed to touch them in public or at work or wherever it is.
Oh yeah, they just take our clothes off. Like you're pulling my underwear to the side, like I belong to you. Like it's actually insane. And people don't like say, normal guys like you, my guy friends that would never think about acting like that.
Sure.
Like they're just like, what? Someone did that because it doesn't register.
Yeah, and so what do you think? What do you think? So you think is it like culture is pushing that sex workers don't matter, or is it like some weird like political thing? I mean, what do you think it is that's making it so much worse now for sex workers? Because sex workers have always been treated like shit, but like obviously you're right. There's like some 20-year-old doofus and some 40-year-old doofus in there, like yanking your fucking underwear off and shit. Like
So
what do you?
it's been that way because I can tell stories from the past. Like I have a fishnet dress on. I remember this one time, like I did not want to talk to this guy. He was so belligerently drunk and he like ripped it off. This was like he tore a hole in my outfit.
Wow.
But that was, so long ago. I was so young. I remember I went upstairs and kind of like cried about it for a few minutes. I wouldn't cry over that now. I'd probably like punch them in the face.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So like it's happened, but I think just because it's so publicized now and it's all over social media, like I think that they just think we're doing so well, making all this money because it's all over social media. Like you have people on Stripper Talk that are showing you how much money they're making every night, and it looks like everyone has it so easy. Strippers go in there and it's not easy. You get propositioned, you have to maintain boundaries. And I think a lot of people, like a lot of girls, don't know how to do that because it looks like an easy job to do.
Right.
Like in every music video you see, like everyone looks like a stripper. Everyone looks like they can be a stripper. Everyone looks like they can be an OnlyFans girl these days, and no one will tell you the toll that it takes. So you have like the new generation of girls coming into the strip club, not understanding, that there used to be pimps. Like we used to have to like have a mentor, like that culture does. Like I got trained, by an OG for like a week when I started 13 years ago. Like now, like girls don't invest in each other that way. And so just the way the culture is now, guys come in and these girls are selling puss for $500 or $200, or they don't know how to say no. They're freshly 18, 19, but they've been living off social media, and they have no boundaries, no personal communication skills. Like, it's just like, it just almost seems like a free for all, like a chicken and egg of, you have a bunch of like new girls in turnover, and it's desperate times, and a bunch of people that don't know how to do the job,
Right.
and a bunch of people that are coming in already desensitized, wanting to get things and taking advantage of the girls that are in here. And also, it's a lot of immigrants. It's a lot of marginalized, girls that are coming in and wanting to dance. So when they're doing things for low amounts of money, or they don't want to report something, or they don't want to say no, a lot of issues will just continue to cycle. And then, like I said, like, everyone, I just feel like, is desensitized these days. So like, no one really gives a fuck. Like, the same old guy on Saturday night, 3 of us bitches were complaining about. We were like, yo, I met the perviest dude. One bitch, I danced for him too. Oh, he did the same. Like, 3 of the girls cursed you out in the same way, and you still went around the club doing it. Like, you don't fucking care, and it's just like a lack of accountability. Like, everyone just thinks they're entitled online. They come in here, all the girls are like, oh, I made $700 in my first set. This is my second set. TikTok, this is my third set. This is what I packed in my bag today. Like, this is the heels I'm wearing. This is my outfit. Like, of course, like, everyone's giving the secrets away. Guys are coming in like, I don't need to pay you. I know what you fucking make. You're not worth shit. Here, I can see tits anywhere. Let me see yours for $20. She'll do it for 10. Like, it's just like a free for all. It's the wild, wild west.
And do you think like people who, oh God, here's a loaded question for you. Do you think people like Andrew Tate and Elon Musk, when they tweet stupid shit, just make it so much worse?
I really don't. I mean, Andrew Tate, obviously, isn't he like a criminal?
I guess can't keep up anymore.
Some of the things he says are like kind of, but the world has always been that way. Like, sex work's been around forever, and pimps have been around forever. 304s have been around forever. Like, the game is the game. Right. I've met pimps out in Dallas. Like, it's always been this way. So I don't think it really makes like it's just like, people are so much more like radicalized easy. Like, I feel like people are like lost but no direction. So I just feel like, but what does Elon Musk say about sex workers?
He just like he does these like tweets and shit where he's just like, there's no accountability, and he'll say things like how women, their primary goal is only to like give birth and shit like that. And it's like, it's sort of like kind of like, it's not a direct like sex workers suck and whatever. And of course, like, he has a platform where like nudity and sex is allowed, right? But at the same time, there's like all this crazy anti-sex work speech on there. And so it's like, to tweet something like women's primary function is not in the political arena, but it's they should be giving us babies. Like, that doesn't help anybody. Like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I mean, someone being conservative.
Yeah.
Like, again, that's always been around. I don't even necessarily disagree with a lot of things that these guys say. I mean, let's just be real. Like, the world is not in tip-top shape. You know what I mean? So in a utopian society, like, sex work would not be publicized like it is. It used to be underground. Just drugs are so, like, who doesn't smoke weed? Like, I'm not saying that the society today is healthy. Maybe, in a world that isn't twisted, women wouldn't be out like having to fend for ourselves all the, like, there are certain traditional roles. Like, I'm not going to argue against, like, the political versus the scientific roles, but like, I don't necessarily disagree. Like, if I could look back and tell my 18-year-old self, maybe not to focus so much on hustle culture, being a boss bitch, being a boss woman, being independent. My parents are divorced. My mom saying, don't say no to money. You got to get what you're going to get, girl. My dad saying, hey, you can do whatever you want. You don't need a man. these things maybe aren't the best ideals to instill in women.
Sure.
Maybe my primary goal wouldn't have been to dance and, you know, come up with all this money the way that I did and have to, you know, maybe it would have been starting a family if I wasn't so programmed with, you know, certain ideas from, you know, adults that are obviously traumatized and went through a divorce and, you know, are unsuccessful in their own ways. You know, like, could have, you know, I'm not saying I regret any of my decisions, you know, because who knows?
Sure.
I'm happy, but I value my home life. Like, I'm a nurturer. Like, I would wish I could just open up a sanctuary and give to animals 24/7. I have those feminine qualities, so I can't necessarily say I disagree. You know, if someone's not meant to be a mom, that's one thing, but I don't think that, like, the way that women were built to just constantly be like cortisol flooded, you know, I have to get a paycheck, I have to take care of the house and the business and you know, like, be independent even though I have a man, like, like,
make sure
it's a lot.
the guy at the grocery store doesn't follow me home and kill me.
It's so much, you know, like,
it really is.
You know, and I went to, like, a liberal private school, so I took LGBT classes. Like, I was just you know, very, like, radical ideas about being independent and expressing oneself and putting your sexual self out there, and, like, it's just the new wave. It's just the culture. It happened in the 70s, you know, like, and it's just been like that from there. So,
right.
you know, before that it was underground and people it wasn't such a big part of life, and so therefore it wasn't so dramatic.
Yeah, and I think, you know, people forget that regardless of where it is and how visible it is, sex work is like the oldest profession on the planet. It's the oldest form of currency and whatever, and it's only people that view sex as a bad thing that then will try to take advantage of it and use it and abuse it and, like, take people like you and twist them to their own, like, silly little you know, devices, and that's terrible, you know. And so I'm glad that you rang in on it and we've got that, like, you know, in the episode, and that's fucking awesome, and I appreciate you being, like, open and honest about it too.
Yeah, for sure, because, like, I've made guys uncomfortable with talking about it, you know, and then when I notice that they get uncomfortable, I just ask them how they think that we felt in the moment. Like, you're uncomfortable hearing about it and you don't even know how to respond. You don't even know how to ask if I'm okay. How do you think I felt? You know? And it's not like that should deter anyone from going into a strip club. It's just like, what decent person would treat a person in a state of vulnerability, half naked, at work, you know, surviving, just like anyone else under capitalism. You know, if you're a shit person regardless, like, that probably means you're a shit person in other areas of life too. And you treat homeless people like shit and anyone below you like shit because that's their mindset.
Yeah, I mean, and, like, it's not hard to have fucking manners. You know what I mean? Like, just be a fucking, I mean, it really isn't difficult to be. And I say this all the time. Like, my favorite saying is, like, it's from Lana Turner. She said, "A gentleman is a patient wolf. A gentleman is nothing more than a patient wolf." And I love that. It's one of my favorites, right? Because
it's sexy.
We are all animals. All of us men are animals, but it's the ones that can control that and make it work for them and still have manners and treat people whatever. It doesn't mean you're not a wolf. It just means that you're patient. It just means that you're
the sexiest thing ever.
Yeah, and I think that's what masculinity is. Like, in my brain is, like, be a patient wolf, right? Open the goddamn door. Don't let her walk on that side of the street.
The discipline, the control.
People.
Yes. 100,000%. So the only people that are going to get offended by this episode and anything I have to say, they have a problem that's established now.
Yeah, for sure. You're welcome, guys. We diagnosed it for you. Yeah, and with that, let's make this huge jump, right? So you go from the strip club to OnlyFans. How does that happen? When did you make the decision to do it? You said you never envisioned yourself as a porn star. So when did you jump to OnlyFans and why did you do it?
Well, it was the COVID thing because all the strip clubs had closed down. So, and actually, I don't mention this too much, but I got bored in 2018 and I went and I got my esthetician's license.
Okay.
I learned how to do facials and waxing, just like waxing, skincare, the whole thing. Because I like education. Me and my cousin got bored. We're strippers. We were like, yo, let's just go and just get a license, right? So I would have like gotten a job, I guess. Maybe I would have tried to start a business that way because I had made business cards. I was looking to go to people's houses and do in-home facials and start like a mobile business. And I was chatting with people about it. And then, COVID hit. Salons closed down, strip clubs closed down, anything personally and service like that. So then I started going to like Dallas, Miami. I was stripping and seeing clients and trying to make it work. So yeah, porn wasn't really a thing, but I remember seeing my first feature show, and it was Jessie Jane at Delilah's. Delilah's used to have porn girls featured. I still had never thought about like being a porn star ever. Like I was still thinking maybe like I'd get a job after like I got my got my degrees and everything. But like I never did, but I never thought about doing porn. So then, one of my homies was like, you'd be a really good porn star. Like, you've been a stripper for so long. And I was actually not doing too bad on OnlyFans considering I was just working with like whoever I was friends with on Instagram.
So were you doing more like girl solo, guy girl? Like what were you doing?
A lot of solos and a lot of like POV blowjobs. I was finding boys on Tinder and sucking their dicks.
Okay, so tell me like so you match with someone on Tinder who you find is attractive, right? And they're like, "Hey, what's up? How are you?" And then you're like, "Hey, can I suck your..." How does that happen?
One of them ended up living like a few blocks away from me. It was so good. Like we're still friends. And as I've paid him for like logos and stuff.
So okay.
Yeah, so it just, I'm just upfront because I don't want to, I'm not looking to date anybody. But I definitely did find a few guys. And I would use location. Like when I was in Dallas too, I found this cute boy too. To suck his dick. I was like, I just want POV content. Like I just, I'm like really just trying to do some videos. I'm just a horny girl. Like I would just tell them like, if you can just record, like I'm clean. I didn't even know about testing. Like, it was just OnlyFans, so all I was doing was sucking dick. I thought that was better than fucking.
Well, I mean, and so you're like, hey, you got to hold the camera or the phone. And then you're like, I'm going to give you a great blowjob. And
yeah.
Then, okay, so are they...
I'm like, just keep it steady. I'll take it. Like,
sure.
Like after we'll like smoke weed. Like,
right.
Just like a date. A date.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
Were they finishing on your face and your mouth? Like
what a lot of them, yeah, it was facials. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So did you have people that were like they got weirded out when you asked them that because I thought it was like too good to be true or something? Or
I got guys that were like nervous because it was the phone, and once it was time to like come, like they just couldn't. It just still happens. Sometimes I'm naughty. Sure. Like I was in Vegas. I saw some guy at the pool and it was his bachelor party and he was so cute and everybody was having a ball. And one of his friends was from New Jersey. His name was Jersey Mike.
The fucking sandwich guy?
Yeah, right. So me and my girlfriend would go over there. They were like young guys. We go over to their table and I'm like flirting with the bachelor. I like his Patagonia hat. I'm like, I'll suck your dick for that hat. I get his number, and I'm at dinner. He comes over to the Cosmo. I leave dinner. My girlfriend, my manager are there. I take him up to my suite. I suck his dick on the balcony. Motherfucker can't come. Wow. Like, he knows what I do and everything. It's not even like this is for a video. I got the video, but this is more for fun. It's not like I need it, like it wasn't that serious, but motherfucker like couldn't nut. And I'm like, I'm still taking your hat. And I have that. I have it. And that was a blast.
So did you use that video for OnlyFans?
I have that video. Yeah, I've used it. Yeah.
So technically, there's a video of someone cheating on their fiance on your OnlyFans somewhere. Technically,
There are multiple of
okay,
those.
okay, all right, all right. Oh, that's fucking what a killer fucking OnlyFans / Vegas. See, Vegas is wild like that, though. It really is.
Oh yeah,
I
because
mean,
people are down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Vegas almost feels like another world, another planet, another dimension when you're there. And
It
it's
is.
so sexual. It's so fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
I
No,
fucking love Vegas.
it is so disgusting. I really love it. I love the CD. Like I want to peek around I want to see what's behind the
Me too.
curtain. You know,
Yeah.
like yeah, you like that too. And I just like I'm obsessed. Anything can happen. I've had the wildest nights.
Okay, so what would you say was your wildest night in Las Vegas? If you had to pick one Vegas story that was like the wildest, what would it be? I'm buying you time to think by talking right now.
Well,
Besides the Patagonia guy.
yeah, no, I have some. Okay, so one of the wildest nights, I think it's wild because I was so young. It's not like actually the wildest, but you know,
Sure.
when you look back and you just know it was like a crazy experience and it wasn't even that crazy, not, you know, but like I was so young. I was 19, maybe 20. I started dancing at the Spearmint Rhino when I was in college. And so when I'd fly out there, that's where I would dance. I started dancing in places really young, like around. So I worked the longest freaking shift. I got wasted. I met a soccer team, like a professional soccer team. I'm not going to say nothing about who it is. And I think that I'm the hot shit because I'm staying at the Excalibur, like by myself.
No.
Okay.
Right.
Like, because I'm like 20 years old and I have like a room with like the hot tub at the end of it, like a trashy, like, you know, but like it's one of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is why I think it's wild because it's the first time I signed an NDA.
Okay.
Okay. And it's the last NDA that I've signed.
Okay.
Like no one, like I haven't been made to sign an NDA since. Like I don't, you know, there's no rappers like in my DM. Like I'm like,
Sure.
I don't do that yet. So yeah, so he didn't even want to come up into my hotel because he didn't trust me. And I'm like, don't you guys do that NDA thing, you know? So he's like, fine. And he comes up and we're like in my hot tub. We don't fuck. We're just smoking blunts.
Yeah.
We're just smoking blunts in my room. We don't have sex, like nothing like that. And then like he stays all night long. And then in the morning he leaves, you know, and I come back and I tell all my girlfriends like, oh my God, you won't believe it. I'm like, Google this guy, like Google his name, like you'll see. And then I realized that when I was on that shift at work, I also met the great grandson, the heir of Jaeger.
Oh, okay.
And that's who I was getting drunk with all night. Because, like, the next day I'm, like, telling my girlfriends, I remember this specific phone call. I'm like, girl, like, I just Googled who I was with last night. And I was getting drunk with this person last night. And I was, like, with two just, like, loaded, like, undercover, like, famous people. Like, it's just people that don't even, like, you don't know them by name. Like, but you meet them and they're like, oh, like, my grandfather, like, you know, owns this and this. And you're just like, what the fuck? You know? And, like, they're just, like, giving you more money than you've seen, you know, ever,
Right.
like just to like drink. And then like, oh, I have a soccer player, like he's valeting his Beamer right now to come up to my stupid little hot tub, you know. And it's just like
at the Excalibur,
like, you know, at the Excalibur, which I think I'm so fucking like I'm hot shit, okay, because I paid for that shit myself and I'm working with the Rhino, and like they said I could work the night shift.
Yeah,
I can work the night shift.
No, that's awesome. Yeah.
Shift all the time. Sometimes they put you on day shift. Like if you're ugly or they don't like you, they're like, you gotta leave at 9:00 p.m. You gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
So I thought I was badass, but I've had like, you know, just I haven't told that story before. I don't want to tell the same stories because I have a few.
Yeah. No.
But then people ask and like the same like ones kind of come up in your head. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But I have to get more careful now because although I did just suck dick, like I can't do it all the time. It's got to be like at the end of one of my trips, you know, where like I'm not doing any more scenes. Like I have to like, you know, because I'm not going to endanger anybody else. So I kind of have to plan my sluttiness, and I don't always get to risk it all the time.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You have like a fucking career. So okay,
Literally.
I mean, what a cool Vegas story. And it like totally unexpected. People listening like, I did not expect it to go there, which is great. Which we love that.
No, it's just crazy.
Yeah. So okay, when does OnlyFans become mainstream? This is like, and I'm glad we're getting to this now towards the end, because it would have been, you're right, like who wants to do this in the beginning? Now we kind of know you. We have your vibes down. It's like, how does OnlyFans go to mainstream? This is what everybody is tuned in for, right? I imagine.
Like, okay, so like when do OnlyFans girls become mainstream girls?
Well, for you, yeah. Like, when did you make the decision? Did someone talk you into it? Did you go looking for it?
Okay. No one talked me into it. All someone had to do was say I'd be good at porn.
That's awesome. Hey,
all really they had to say.
All right. Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know what, you're right. But it was just like OnlyFans wasn't like quick enough.
Sure.
Okay, like I didn't have a following, and I wasn't clout chasing to get a following. So I can only make so much money with no Twitter.
Yeah.
And what, like 6,000 or 7,000 followers? Yeah. You know, like I wasn't putting out sex worker content or anything like that. Like I wasn't in the Tumblr game of, you know, advertising my nudes. Like I wasn't doing anything like that. I didn't have like a following. As far as like OnlyFans, because you know you can't find people on OnlyFans, you have to know them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's how they start subscribing to you.
Right.
It's not like you're like have a For You page. So I just went straight to porn so that I could definitely become more famous and then make more money
on OnlyFans. Yeah, that's
on OnlyFans. Awesome. The feature shows. OnlyFans isn't even my favorite thing. Okay, it's the feature shows. I love them things and the conventions, like meeting fans, meeting people. That is the best thing about having some clout.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Okay, so the first, and I'm going to jump back to the fan thing because I have a question, but your first porn scene, mainstream scene, what was that like? Do you remember that? Like, you've been in the industry 3 years, so going back 3 years to that first scene, like, were you nervous? Like, who was it with? Was it a boy, girl?
Okay, terminology. Yeah. So I think my first one was a boy, girl. And I think my second one was a boy, girl. Both of the websites that I shot for were owned by the first agent that I went
with. Of course.
So, they were, I think. And then my third scene was an anal scene. It was my bang bus scene. And then I think the one after that was a boy girl scene for Bang Reality, and then an anal scene. Yeah. Yeah, so I think my first two were just vag, like to get me warmed up, like yeah. But then the third one was like, all right, bitch, you're in it, like you're going pro now. Here's Bang Bros. Yeah.
Is working on the Bang Bus stressful? Because to me it looks like it would be stressful, but maybe it's just a guy thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Imagine like performing in there, just
like oh no, like, yeah, exactly, right.
Was it stress? Okay, so like the stressful. Okay, like you're I'm on the street, and there's like kind of like a skit beforehand, right? Like how you get into the van.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that part, like, there's actual strangers walking around, like. So I'm like getting interacted with, like, so it was I was nervous. I felt like I felt like I was in Hollywood. But then like it was also stressful because it was my first anal scene
in the bang bus.
in it.
Okay.
So it's not like I had a bathroom.
Yeah.
Or
And
anything,
let's remind them the fucking car is moving while you're taking a dick in the ass.
It's moving. You have people that are driving it. They're like, oh, gotta go down the street. Like they're like, you hear everyone like producing and talking. Oh, this is blocked out. Oh, cop here. Oh no, we usually use this lot here. Like,
I'm out of gas.
it is surreal. Like, I have never had so many moments where I look around and like, how did I end up here? You know?
On the bang bus, yeah.
I'm just like, life's mad. Life is mad. You know, I'd be in the champagne room sometimes and I'd do like the most disgusting shit and I'd be like, wow, surreal. You know, and this like that's how I feel. That's how I feel on set now.
I mean, so what do you mean? Like, what's the most disgusting shit you've done in the champagne room? Like, you brought this up, so now you gotta give me something. What's some disgusting shit you've done? And you're like, oh shit, I can't believe I just did that.
I had a client who I think is dead now.
Okay.
Very old man. And he would alternate between me and this one blonde chick. And me and her are still friends to this day.
Mm-hmm.
He would come in and each week with his check, you know, his like social security, like his little money or whatever, he'd come in and he would drink each of our piss. One week it'd be me, and the next Sunday it'd be her. The next Sunday it'd be, you know, he'd just alternate. He would pay for the champagne room, and he would pay for every glass that we could pee into and fill up. And warm.
Wow.
So this bitch, we'd be like, I'm drinking my water, like I'm ready for Sunday. I'm like, maybe get ready for Sunday at 1 to 9 shift, at 1 p.m. shift. We go in fucking daylight.
Yeah.
Homie's already there at the bar, you know, drinking his little Sprite with his stink, you know, with his little old man smell. We gotta help him off the chair.
That's awesome. That's
Walk
fucking
him to
awesome.
the champagne room back there, and here's the money. And
mm-hmm. Yeah.
so that's just, you look around and it's steaming hot piss in a freezer filled glass, you know, and he's chugging it down, trying to
yeah.
It smells like your piss, and he's paying you per glass. So I'm drinking more champagne. Like, I'm about to get another glass in. Like, holding it as much as possible so it's warm.
Yeah. That's an incredible story. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No,
there'd be times, you know, where I'm
yeah. With his dick.
Not even wanting the nut, just wanting to feel how soft my feet are.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it does go down in the champagne room. Like, it definitely does go down in the fucking champagne room.
Not anymore. Allegedly, this was years ago.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah,
allegedly.
We had to put that in there.
I don't
we don't want to get anybody in trouble in Philadelphia whatsoever. But I've heard those stories too, like, you know, all over the place. You know, like, the shit happens in the champagne room. Allegedly,
because both parties are drinking.
Yeah,
and, you know, it's just, you explore, and everyone obviously goes in there because we all want to express or explore something.
Yeah. So what are some of your wildest, like, scenes in the adult industry? Like, have you done a DP? Have you done a gangbang? Are you going to? Are we waiting on that? What's going on? Like, because you seem like the type of person that's like full of energy, down to do it on your own terms, right? But like, not afraid to get dirty and wild. So like, how crazy have you gotten in porn so far? And what are the plans to get nuts, if there are any?
I have done a DP. That shit was amazing.
We keep hearing that on the show. Yeah. Yeah. What was amazing about it?
It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels really good, especially if you like anal. And then there's two dicks. Like, if you really like dick, like if you really like sex, you want a lot of dick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I masturbate to gay porn because I like men and I want to see dicks.
Yeah.
So when there's two dicks using you and they're hard for hours, you know, it's just like so hot.
Mm-hmm.
Both holes at the same time is a feeling you've never felt before. It's like having an orgasm for the first time. It's literally like what is
Yeah. Yeah.
they? It's just
What does it feel like to have an orgasm during a DP? If you did have an orgasm, maybe you didn't. I don't know.
I did.
Okay. What was that?
I've only done one DP. I had an orgasm during it. Yeah, it was intense. It wasn't even like the biggest one because it was so intense. Like, I was so stuffed, like I like wanted to.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, and then the next day, come here, buddy. And then the next day, my booty hole kind of like bled a little jelly. Just
Yeah. Right.
but like it wasn't painful. It felt great. Also, I've done a lot of piss content, a lot of pissy scenes, which now we know where that stems from.
Like you're pissing or people are pissing on you?
Both.
Oh,
The
okay.
piss fetish is for real.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
And it obviously started with Larry.
Yeah. Larry.
Like,
yeah. Larry brought that to the table and now it's here. Yeah, for
it
sure.
was so, because after Larry, like, then I had this girlfriend that I was dating for a little bit, and like we would scissor and stuff, and like we would love to piss on each other while we were scissoring.
Yeah.
You know, because it was just like Larry gave me a fetish, and like it would feel good receiving money and pissing in a cup. And I got kind of Pavlovian, and I'm like, this feels really good to just piss and feel pleasure and like own somebody and like make them like feel good, like by urinating, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Like, I don't know how that happened, but like, yeah, like we're like scissoring and, you know, we're just like.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay. And like in porn, right? Do you plan on ever doing a gangbang? Are you open to it? Do you have one planned? Is it a
Super
secret?
open to it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Super open. Yeah, I want to do a blow bang. I want to do a gangbang. I've done a glory hole. That fucking company won't message me back.
Why?
I don't know. Like, you already shot me once.
What? So did they release a scene or no?
Yeah, people love it. They're like, you got to come around to. Like, I have people literally like, do a second glory hole, and like they don't like email me back. I don't get it.
That's weird.
I would love to set up a glory hole somewhere. It was so good. I think it was like 7 or 5, 7, 8 loads, 7, 8 loads.
Nice. Yeah, that's a solid glory hole.
It was sickening. Yeah. Gangbang for sure. I want to do a blow bang next though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I could sit here and talk to you for another fucking 2 hours. But I think for like everyone's their heart rates needs to come down a little bit. So we're gonna end the episode. I'm gonna bring you back though, but before we go, someone who is energetic as you are, who is in touch with themselves as much as you are, who is intelligent as you are, can you give some advice to the women that are looking to start an OnlyFans or get into mainstream from your life perspective?
Yeah, I can get into mainstream advice because OnlyFans, I feel like I'm not as successful as other people. But
Sure.
but I could talk about generally advice for a woman who's getting into sex work, mainstream or content, Pornhub or whatever. I would say to like I would say to start journaling and start learning how to process emotions and things that happen, because a lot of stuff comes up.
Yeah.
A lot of body issues come up. A lot of trauma will resurface. A lot of boundaries being crossed that you didn't know you had to make boundaries for these certain things. Like you just never thought you'd have to think about, what do I say when XYZ happens? Things like that. So I would say learning how to process, like, just what happens, like, as a form of therapy. I'm not saying go to therapy, but what I'm saying is when you start sex work, you need to become your own therapist and take care of yourself. You have to process, you have to figure out, like, why something is upsetting you, why something happened. You have to learn how to carry yourself better, and you really have to become, like, strong. And I think that stems from understanding yourself and, like, being able to trust yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's not really that easy. And people don't teach you these types of things, but you have to be a strong individual to subject yourself to these things constantly. And if you want to be successful, you have to have hard conversations, you have to have confidence, and you have to, like, just be really headstrong. And I think that starts with not being so triggered and, just learning how to take care of yourself and communicate and know what you need, know what you want, know what your goals are, and, like, reflect constantly, because you can just lose yourself. You can lose yourself in an instant.
Brenna McKenna, thank you so much for being with me on Sex Party this week.
This was fun.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Thank you so much.
I promised it would be, and
you
here
did.
we are. Let's tell all these party goers where they can find you on socials, OnlyFans, maybe some gigs you have coming up, whatever you want to plug. Let's plug it.
Oh, sure. So all of my handles are spelled the same. It's my name, Brenna McKenna. The A's are V's because my first name starts with a V, so I thought that'd be cute. So it's BRENNVMCKENNV for my OnlyFans, my ManyVids, my Pornhub, my Venmo, my PayPal, my Instagram, my Twitter. Even I'm on Reddit and I'm on Discord. All the things. People can connect with me for free at so many places. They can pay me in so many places. I have a schedule at strip clubs. If people are on the East Coast, I will be at New Jersey Exotica. I don't know if this is coming out soon, but I'll be there. I'm also going to come to Chicago Exotica, and I want to see you there. Do you go?
So I will be at the New Jersey show and the Chicago show. So yes.
Okay. Yeah. So same, and I've never been to the Chicago one. So I've never met, like, any, like, fans, like, out there who don't come this way. So I'll be that way. And hopefully I'll have some features lined up in between. And I post all of those updates on Instagram, Twitter, and Discord.
Amazing. Well, yeah. I would love to have you back. We'll have to set it up with Erica. I think you're great. I think there's a lot more of your story to tell. And, who knows what happens between now and then. So thank you for being here. And yeah, we'll definitely have you back soon.
Thank you so, so much. Bye.
Big thank you to my guest, Brenna McKenna, for being with me on the show this week. Make sure you go check out everything she is doing on all of her platforms, OnlyFans, ManyVids, everything she mentioned. Go follow her on social. Go buy some content. Catch her at one of her live shows. Go to the conventions, all the things. If you're loving guests like Brenna and you want to see more guests like her, she'll be back in the future. You know how we do things around here. But you're just loving Sex Party. You want to show some love, some devotion, some hope. that you'll get more sex party? How can you voice that? Well, if you're listening to this on platforms like Apple and Spotify, you could leave a rating, you could leave a review. Those things are wonderful, but you know what? Fuck that. What you really want to do is you want to make sure that you're subscribed to the show so you never miss a new episode every single Wednesday, especially if you're subscribed or you think you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts. They've been doing this thing where they're unsubscribing people from the show for whatever reason. So what you want to do, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Sex Party with Dustin Rybka, upper right-hand corner, there's some sort of button. If you see a pause button, tap the button, a drop-down menu will appear. Click resume subscription or resume downloads. Boom, bang, boom, boom, boom. You are resubscribed to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, I love you. I see you. I appreciate you. If you're watching on YouTube, what is the best snack, best fast food that you go to after a long sex session? Is it McDonald's? Is it Taco Bell? Is it Five Guys? Leave it in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, what can you do to show some love, some appreciation, some desire for more sex party? Well, you could leave comments on all the videos. I love interacting with you. You could like all the videos, but let's be real. The thing you want to do is make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you never miss a brand new episode every single Wednesday. As always, I'm available in the DMs on Instagram, and I will see you all right back here next week.
Thanks for listening. The party continues next week. Click subscribe and let's make this a regular thing. Follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at SexPartyFM. Follow Dustin at Dustin Rybka.